Well, hi, everybody. Happy New Year. I'm Dave Jones with Storm Center Communications and Geo Collaborate. It's Tuesday, January 13th, 2026. Finally got some time to put together a weather update. Lots of meetings going on in the beginning of the year, combined with some travel and some more meetings coming up next week. But in the meantime, I'm going to give you a little update for the All Hazards Consortium, the sensitive information sharing environment, where we share information across platforms and across sectors, from private sector liaisons and state emergency operations centers to private sector owner and operators in many different sectors, all because we want to make sure that commerce remains moving across the country, and any big weather systems, should they be heading our way in the United States, or Canada or Mexico or anywhere around the oceans, that we tell you about that, so we can make good preparations, make sure that things are moving around the country. And so we'll be testing out some new Storm Center generated layers as well in our dashboard. We're taking a look at potential record high temperatures around the country, as well as record low temperatures. So we'll be keeping you posted about that. I'll show you that on Geo Collaborate. Here's what we're monitoring today. There's no real huge impacts expected in the weather area, but I will say that we are going to feel winter making a comeback with much colder temperatures later this week into next week as well. I'll show you on the weather forecast model what it looks like. We're going to get pounded with 3 or 4 back-to-back cold air outbreaks. Well, it looks like some heavy lake effect snows will be returning to southeast Lake Michigan, with South Bend in the bullseye over the next couple of days. And atmospheric rivers, they are taking a break, a little bit of a break, with moisture being redirected well to the north here. You can see that plume of moisture heading up into western Canada and also up towards Alaska here. That's good news for the Pacific Northwest. You folks have really endured quite a bit of rain, especially during the holidays as well. I hope you got through it okay. We'll be talking about atmospheric rivers more of this year into this winter and on into springtime, because there are active observations going on. We also have access to new ocean observation platforms that are typically used in the research area, but we have access to them in Geo Collaborate, and we're going to show you how some of those observations can help. Here's what it looks like from the standpoint of advisories around the country. And we don't have a whole bunch of them in the lower 48, although we do have some winter storm warnings here southeast of Chicago. Chicago, you're not included, all because strong northwesterly winds are coming. And also we have some snow and some impacts. This is the winter storm severity impacts index product from the National Weather Service at the Weather Prediction Center. In North Dakota, there'll be some impacts from strong winds and snowfall, and also the lee of the lakes as more northwesterly winds kick in. And also in the Pacific Northwest, we do have some windy conditions, but not as bad as up towards Alaska. Look at this. Look at all these advisories going into effect. Freezing spray advisories in the Bering Sea, and also around Juneau, where they have received record amounts of snowfall over the holidays and the last couple of weeks, where now wind is going to be a big factor. Wind advisories, there are storm warnings off the coast of Alaska, all because of that plume of moisture that I showed you. There's that plume of moisture right now, and that's headed up here. Look at this low pressure system. So this low is going to be moving on up into this direction, and that's what's going to be throwing all this moisture right up in here, along with very strong winds. Hawaii, here you are right here. Aloha. You had some serious rainfall as well about a week or so ago, with a low pressure that kind of parked itself to your northwest, and that stream of moisture came up here, and that's where the storm track is taking these systems right now. There's another system that we'll be watching, could impact parts of Hawaii as this dives down to the south a little bit. And if that stream of moisture comes over you, we'll be talking about that too over the next couple of days to see how that's going to be impacting you there. But you can see it's dark up in Alaska. It is winter time, so Darkness is the rule, particularly in northern Alaska and the way north in the Arctic Circle. But we do also have lots of warm temperatures in the southwest. Let's take a look back at GeoCollaborate because I did want to show you something that we are working on. Here it is. This is GeoCollaborate, and I can get a little bit closer with that winter storm severity index here in North Dakota. There could be some very big impacts to transportation here in North Dakota, central North Dakota, just northeast of Bismarck, extending from Minot on down to east of Bismarck. Very strong winds, could be blizzard conditions at times with this cold air coming in. And then as I move to the east, I just want to show you the reflection of lake effect snows. First of all, look at this blue here. This blue is heavy freezing spray warning. That is because the very cold temperatures that are going to be moving over the Great Lakes combined with the strong winds, and the lakes are not frozen yet. So we have free water being picked up, strong waves. That spray is going to be picked up. So a heavy freezing spray warning, that means that boats can accumulate ice very quickly, and it could be very, very dangerous. Down here to the south, we have gale warnings in effect here over Lake Michigan. That's showing up right here in the pink. And look at this, right here where the wind's going to be blowing over. We do have anticipated winter storm severity index impacts to critical infrastructure. There's a winter storm warning in effect. South Bend, you folks could see 10 to perhaps even 12 inches of snow and even more than that over the next 24 to 36 hours. So that's going to be quite impactful. Also to the lee of Lake Erie and also Lake Ontario, we'll be seeing the snowfall machine kick back up. Also in the higher elevations of the Appalachians, western Maryland, southwestern Pennsylvania, eastern West Virginia, looks like we could have some impacts, but mainly limited to very high elevations there. And here, this is over the next several days where we could see a little bit of snow or mixed snow and rain in the Baltimore-Washington corridor. Doesn't look like it's going to cause much of a problem, but it could be a mixture enough on the snow side in certain areas to cause some slipperiness. Doesn't look like it's going to be much of a impact there. There are winter weather advisories down towards southwest Virginia and also the mountains of North Carolina, just to the west of Asheville, where they are still recovering and will be for a while from Hurricane Helene, more than a year ago, but still very much of an impact there. I also wanted to mention in California, south of San Francisco, so from about San Luis Obispo down towards Santa Barbara, Oxnard, there were some pretty big waves. There was earlier today a heavy surf advisory, and there's also quite a bit of talk along the California coast here where this blue is, where we have beach hazard statements for potential sneaker waves. Those sneaker waves are strong waves that can come into the shoreline, and also meteo tsunamis that could have occurred in parts of South America. We brought in Dr. Ellen Prager to talk about these sneaker waves and what it means. Here's what we recorded earlier today. A day at the beach can turn dangerous in seconds. In Argentina, a powerful surge of water rushed ashore without warning. One person was killed. At least 35 others were injured. And this isn't just happening overseas. Last year in Northern California, a hiker was killed and another injured after a sneaker wave swept them into the ocean. These waves can arrive suddenly. They're powerful and they can be deadly. So what causes them and how do you stay safe? We talked to our ocean expert, Dr. Ellen Prager.
Look, the news out of Argentina is really tragic. It appears that a meteo tsunami, kind of a mouthful, was what was responsible. Meteo tsunamis are caused by rapid changes in weather or storms offshore. They create higher than normal waves or strong surges of water. They're not triggered by earthquakes. They are very hard to predict, but scientists are working to better detect them. But even so, warnings will be time limited. You'll also hear the term sneaker waves. These are powerful waves that strike the coast with little or no warning. They can be caused by offshore storms, long period swell, waves converging near the shore, or unusually high tides like king tides.
This video from the National Weather Service shows the danger clearly, and we see this all the time. People climbing on seawalls, walking out on jetties, even when the surf is rough.
It's not just the force of the water that's dangerous. There can be debris moving fast in the surf. Cold water increases the chances of hypothermia. And on flatter beaches, waves and surge can run far inland and very quickly. There's a couple things you can do to stay safe when you're at the ocean. Never turn your back on the sea. Always check the forecast and look for advisories or warnings before you go. And if the surf is rough, please stay off of seawalls and jetties and look for debris. If lifeguards are on duty, talk to them, check in with them. Watch conditions for at least 15 minutes before you get in the ocean. And always know your escape route. In Argentina, a fence behind the beach made it very hard to reach higher ground, and that really matters in an emergency.
The takeaway is simple. The ocean doesn't need an earthquake to become dangerous, and paying attention before and during your beach visit can save your life. You can check real-time wave and tide data through the Integrated Ocean Observing System. Many regions also offer live beach cameras, so you can see conditions before you head out. Make sure you check out that IUS Association page as well. There's some really good data from many regions around the ocean. Certainly don't want anybody caught in those sneaker waves, and they're very tough to forecast, as you heard Dr. Prager saying. So let's take a look at the model forecast for the next couple of days, and I'll show you where that cold air is coming from. What I have displayed right now is the 850 millibar temperature anomalies. So this means that about 5,000 feet up in the air, is it colder or warmer than average? And so this gives us an idea to look and see where it is warmer, which means it's likely warmer at the surface as well, where we live. Instead of 5,000 feet up. But I want to put this into motion here and take this through, because you can see as we go through tonight into tomorrow, the East Coast is going to hang on one more day of fairly warm temperatures, above average temperatures. But then you can see that purple area. That purple area right in here, that is cold air, Arctic air, and it's going to be coming down through the Great Lakes. That's what's going to kick off those lake effect snow showers and heavy snow in many cases around South Bend. But look how warm it is out west. That's going to continue. Higher elevations, that's cold air right there. But let's put this into motion, and we'll show you when that's going to reach down to the Gulf and also towards the East Coast. So get ready. Those of you in Louisiana, Alabama, Mississippi, Florida, Texas, you got some cold air headed your way, and some of the coldest air of the season. You thought it was cold several weeks ago. Nope, it's going to be colder now. And you can see that cold air in here Thursday morning and on into Thursday afternoon and Friday. Then it's going to be moving out on Friday. But look at this. Another reinforcing shot of cold air is going to be coming down through the Midwest, upper Midwest here, and that's going to dive straight down to the Gulf Coast as well. We'll put that into motion so you can see that area of cold air. Look at that, really diving down there. We might have some frozen pipes here in South Carolina, in Georgia, and also Alabama. This is going to be very cold air, and we're talking over the weekend. So Sunday afternoon into Sunday night, Monday, you're going to notice it. But look at this out west. Remaining very warm out west, anomalously warm, I might add. And then look after early next week, Monday and Tuesday, another reinforcing shot of cold air comes down. Now, unfortunately, we're not going to be having, for you snow lovers, any big low pressure system developing off the coastline. I know there was quite a few folks sharing information that we might have a snowstorm on the East Coast in the mid-Atlantic Thursday or Friday because the models were indicating that about a week and a half ago. But that's why you really want to make sure you pay attention each day to your local broadcast meteorologist, the National Weather Service. Those forecasts do change, and it's just not prudent to really listen to forecasts that are more than 5 days old. Certainly, we're all snow lovers, I think, many of us. We do want the snow, but it doesn't look like it's going to happen this go round. But we are going to have this cold temperature, the cold temperatures around with us through next week. So get ready for that on the East Coast. Meanwhile, on the West Coast, very warm temperatures are in store. Now, as far as GeoCollaborate's concerned, this is one of the things that we're working on, plotting each day or when we put them up here. These are potential record high temperature forecasts for today or tomorrow. And it shows up here when we click on this. So in Montana, the Billings International Airport, very close on Wednesday to a high temperature of 59 degrees. The record temperature is 60, so within 1 degree of a record high temperature. Look at this down here in Cheyenne, Wyoming, forecast high temperature of 57 today, and the record high is 58. And look at over here by Las Vegas, the forecast high temperature today is 66. The record high is 67. And so right now at 5:08 Eastern time, the temperature out there in Las Vegas is 66 degrees. So it has reached the forecast high. 1 more degree and you'll be tying a record high. Out in Seattle, looks like you have some fog and clouds around right now. High temperature forecast of 57, the record high 58 degrees. So that'll do it for this update. I hope you had a wonderful holiday. You had a great and safe new year. We'll be back doing more weather updates tomorrow. I have a whole bunch of meetings throughout the day, so not tomorrow. And these are for the All Hazards Consortium, sensitive information sharing environment where we share information across platforms and also to you too. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll be back and look forward to a very eventful 2026. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you next time.